Yo, what is up guys? Delboy here, aka Blue Collar Sports TV. Hopefully you guys are doing well. If you're new here, smash that like, hit subscribe, all of that good stuff. Anybody else out there sick of Dillian Whyte, his crying, and his fanboys crying? I for one certainly am. Now, the whole Tyson Fury versus Dillian Whyte situation has developed into a complete shit show. Quite frankly, I want this fight to happen ideally as soon as possible, so we can get it out of the way and hopefully move towards undisputed. That's my ideal scenario, but given what is happening in the courtroom, etc., we know that's not a possibility. And, you know, in the last few days, I've seen so many Dillian Whyte fans out here accusing Tyson Fury of ducking Dillian Whyte, etc., 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 deliberately misrepresenting the truth of what is going on, and I wanted to share my thoughts on this situation. So, as of right now, we know that Dillian Whyte is Tyson Fury's mandatory. The WBC have confirmed it. However, they cannot order this fight as of right now technically because they can't order the purse bids. So there's no negotiation period right now because they can't order purse bids. The reason being, Dillian Whyte is in arbitration with the WBC in regards to the purse split, the actual percentage of the purse split, and what Dillian Whyte feels he's entitled to. Dillian Whyte wants 45% in the case of a purse split. In my opinion, that is unreasonable and potentially unrealistic. So that is what essentially is holding up this fight right now. It's on Dillian Whyte's side. And the arbitration hasn't started right now from what I understand. The arbitration actually starts in March. And, you know, once we get through the arbitration, we will find out what Dillian Whyte is entitled to. Until then, purse bids cannot be ordered. So if you're Tyson Fury, why would you overcommit to Dillian Whyte or potentially overcommit in regards to the negotiations? If Dillian Whyte turns out to be only worth 30%, or that's what he's entitled to, why would you try to negotiate anything before you know the terms of the purse bid? From a business point of view, and, you know, I don't like talking about boxing this way, but realistically, from a business point of view, if you're Team Fury, why would you negotiate with Dillian Whyte when you don't know what the purse split would be in the event of a purse bid? I personally wouldn't. And as I said, that arbitration, I believe, starts in March, from what I've read. So, who knows how long that's going to take. And if you're Tyson Fury, why should you hold up your career for Dillian Whyte? Why? What's wrong with Tyson Fury having an interim fight with the WBC title not on the line and only the Ring Magazine and Lineal title being on the line? What's wrong with that? Nothing at all, in my opinion. Tyson Fury's talking about Andy Ruiz, which would be a good opponent, or Robert Helenius, who I don't really care for, quite frankly. But yeah, why should Tyson Fury hold up his career for a decision that Dillian Whyte has made himself? This situation isn't really on Tyson Fury, it's on Dillian Whyte. Dillian has chose to go this route, and he will have to pay the price, and if that means waiting for his title shot, it is what it is, you know? What can he do about it, you know? I've seen like Dillian Whyte fans, Matchroom fanboys online also put out the myth that an interim champion for the WBC, if he's fighting a champion, the purse bid is automatically, or the purse split, sorry, is automatically 55% to the real champion and 45% to the interim champion. That is the guideline set by the WBC. That much is true. However, if you look at the WBC's rules, and you can find these online, let's read these together because it seems like a lot of channels out here, a lot of people on social media are incapable of finding information and looking at it for themselves. So, for a champion versus a mandatory challenger, it's 70% of the purse for the champion, 30% for the challenger. When it comes to a vacant title, it is 50% each to both contenders. When it comes to a champion fighting an interim champion, yes, it is 55% to the champion and 45% to the interim champion. However, if you read further in Clause D, it reads the following: notwithstanding the terms of subparagraphs A, B and C, which I just read out, the Board of Governors may, in its discretion, by a majority vote, modify the division of purse offer proceeds between boxers in a purse offer in unusual or special cases, like the consideration of the outstanding market value of one of the boxers. The modification of a split will be limited to 3 categories: 70-30, 60-40, or 55-45 for the champion and challenger, respectively, except in most exceptional circumstances in which the split may be modified to 50-50. So, Dillian Whyte is not necessarily entitled to 45% like his fanboys are pointing out. It's down to the WBC's discretion at the end of the day. And when you look at the 2 recent purses for Tyson Fury and Dillian Whyte, Tyson Fury's dwarfs Dillian Whyte's. So let's stop this lie, let's stop this myth that Dillian Whyte is guaranteed to be worth 45%. That is not the case. And again, if you haven't noticed, this fight is an arbitration in regards to the purse split. And obviously we also heard the news that Bob Arum and Top Rank actually made an offer to Dillian Whyte. Now, from what I read of this offer, they basically offered Dillian Whyte a flat fee of $5.5 million, which is around £4 million, which I believe would be Dillian Whyte's career highest purse. However, they also offered him a split of 25%. Now, from what I understand, the lowest he could get for that fight is $5.5 million. However, if the 25% is worth more than $5.5 million, let's say it's worth $6 million, he'll get the percentage instead, if that makes sense. And, a lot of people are out here calling that a lowball offer. Well, I mean, yeah, maybe Dillian Whyte is worth a bit more, but I certainly wouldn't call it a lowball offer. I think it's a good starting point offer, in my opinion. And I would certainly say it was an offer made in good faith. Another thing we have to consider here, this arbitration, despite the result, Dillian Whyte could be shooting himself in the foot. And I'll explain why. Let's say Tyson Fury fights in March, he fights Helenius, he wins. And let's say Joshua and Usyk also fight in a similar time frame. And, let's take that scenario. If Tyson Fury then decides to try and negotiate with the Usyk-AJ winner, potentially he can bypass his mandatory in Dillian Whyte and go straight into undisputed. The WBC do have a bylaw which indicates that at their discretion they can approve undisputed fights or unification fights over mandatory challengers. So potentially Dillian Whyte could be waiting a whole lot longer for his title shot. And if it comes to that, quite frankly, I would rather that happen. I would rather see the undisputed than Dillian get his title shot right away. That's how I feel about the situation. But it seems like a lot of people on YouTube, a lot of people on social media, whether that be content creators or commenters, would only really want to see undisputed at heavyweight if it involves a matchroom fighter. So I'll give you an example, and my track record on this is quite clear. When Andy Ruiz beat Joshua, I wanted to see Andy Ruiz versus Wilder for all of the titles. When Fury beat Wilder and got the WBC, I wanted to see Fury versus AJ for undisputed. And finally, once Usyk beat Joshua, I wanted to see Usyk versus Fury for undisputed. But a lot of guys out here, they were so up for undisputed when one of their guys were involved. But now, all of a sudden, mandatories matter, rematch clauses matter. You wasn't saying that about Tyson Fury versus Wilder 3. You guys, including myself, because I want to see undisputed, unlike a lot of you guys, you were saying, oh, that rematch clause is pointless. We need to get undisputed. But when it comes to other guys, you don't hold that same energy. So a lot of you guys don't want to see undisputed. You just want to see your favourite promoter win, or you want to see your favourite guy involved in undisputed. That is just the reality. We've got enough subject material on YouTube to prove that. So, and it's bullshit, man. Dillian Whyte, he's got himself in this situation. He's got a title shot, but he just might have to wait for it, and that is on him. And I'm sick of these narratives surrounding Dillian Whyte. He's had not an opportunity, he's had opportunities to fight for world titles. He could have fought Anthony Joshua, the unified heavyweight champion, turned it down. He had the opportunity to fight Kubrat Pulev in an IBF eliminator, turned it down. Team White also turned down a title eliminator with Luis Ortiz, which the WBC did order back in 2018. So, Dillian Whyte being persecuted and hard done by with boxing politics is complete nonsense. Listen, have worse fighters had opportunities at titles? Absolutely. Would I be against Dillian Whyte getting a title shot? No, quite frankly, considering what he has done, although I think some people overblow it, I do think he deserves one. But he's got himself in this situation with career decisions and the legal route which he's now exploring. So it is what it is. It is what it is. But honestly, my main takeaway from this whole situation is that I'm not going to say most, but a lot of people on YouTube, the fanboy types, they don't really want to see Undisputed at heavyweight unless it involves one of their guys. And like I said, in the last few months, in the last couple of years, we've seen that and it's plain to see. But share your thoughts below. What do you make of this situation? Am I being harsh on Dillian Whyte, or do you agree with me? Honestly, man, I don't know what planet some people are living on, but it is what it is, It is what it is. Share your thoughts below. It's been your guy Delboy. Peace.